Welcome to the 5-Minute Podcast for musicians and GigFaster TV. If you're watching on YouTube, thanks. Be sure to subscribe. Same with the podcast. You can subscribe on Apple, Spotify. It's everywhere. You can find it. Anyway, today I'm really excited because this is the stuff I talk about all the time, but we're going to get into it. The best email sequence for booking gigs right after this. Okay, let's get right into it. The best email sequence for booking gigs. Everybody knows, if you've been watching, listening for a while, and you know anything about GigFaster.com, I'm all about the email marketing and the email sequences and the proper way to send them to venues, record labels, and music promoters, because honestly, it works for every business. I mean, it's not rocket science, but it's not hard, but it does take work. You have to put the time in, and you have to do it. Now, first things first, I've used this to book like major gigs. Like I would never have played with like some major artists like Kenny Wayne Shepherd and Gary Hoey, which is kind of unheard. He's kind of unknown to some people, but if you're in the guitar, if you play guitar, and he's been around forever. This guy has been hustling in the music industry, and I think hustle has become a good word now. Before it might not have been, but like he's really been working his tail off every year for like, oh my word, 30 years, maybe, probably more than that. And the truth is, the guy's making a decent living, and now he's getting his son into it. So that's pretty cool. You should go check him out. I played with him a few times, and it's been really, really fun. So anyway, the thing about the best email sequence for booking gigs is that a lot of people, even though they know they should be emailing at this point, like you're gonna waste your time phone calls. Like, think about it. You get a phone call on your phone and you don't recognize the number. Do you answer it? No, because usually it's some insurance thing telling you, oh, we have this great deal. It's just some spammy phone call. So this is the same with venues and all these other people. So you're not going to get your. Chances are they're not going to listen to your voicemail. They might not even have voicemail set up. So you got to start emailing, and you got to be careful about it. You don't want to spam them. You don't want to end up in a spam folder, and you don't want to ruin your chances right from the start. So I'm going to go through three steps for the best email sequence so that you can write this down and you can do it. Now, this is the same technique and strategy that we use for GigFaster, and it works. And it's worked for me many, 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 many times. So here we go. Number one, send an intro email. Okay, so you find a venue, you get their contact information, and that's another thing that's going to take you some time. And you make sure you have the right contact information. You're contacting the right person. That's actually another podcast. How to get the contact information. I'll have to remember that. Anyway, send the intro email. You can be short and sweet about it. Just introduce yourself. Most likely this is a cold email. They don't know who you are. So just be short and very polite about it. Okay, that's number one. Number two, you're going to send a follow-up email. And the second email should actually include the first email, so that once they read what you say, they can be like, if they read it, because like I said, they're swamped, but this technique will get you to the top of their email pile. They're going to read through the rest of the messages. So you always want to make sure you include the previous one. And the first follow-up really should be just as short, simple, and short and sweet as the first one. It could be something as simple as like, hey, just checking to see if you had any interest, blah, 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 and send this email within a week of the other one. You don't want to let too much time pass before you send that first follow-up email. And now the rest of this is that step number 3 is really quite a few steps, and it's sending your follow-up emails 2 through 5. This is the remaining 4 emails that you're going to send. And again, they're not pushy. You got to be creative in what you say, and always ask a simple question. There has to be some kind of call to action. A call to action is basically one thing in the email that you're asking for so that it can get them to do something. If you ask them a simple question, they might reply. Okay. Now, if you have an iPhone, a little while ago, Apple switched the text so that whenever you want to delete a text, it says, do you want to delete this conversation? And I get a text from somebody that I don't even know, some spammy text. I click delete and it says, do you want to delete this conversation? Well, Apple, it is not a conversation. If one person says something, there's no conversing there. That's somebody talking or spamming you. Whenever a venue replies to what you sent them, now you have a conversation. Apple, get it right. It drives me nuts. I just want to delete stupid spammy text. Let me do it with one swipe. Why do I have to be prompted? Are you sure you want to delete this? Big pet peeve of mine. So anyway, once a venue replies, that is awesome, because that's not always going to happen. Anybody that's been in sales knows that, you might make 100 calls, send 100 emails, to 100 different venues, and it might be literally hundreds of emails. People don't realize that, you're going to send to 100 venues, and each venue you're going to send anywhere from, it's going to be at least 2 emails to 6 emails. Okay, times 100, that's 600 emails. And you have to keep a schedule of that, because you have to make sure you're following up at the right time, and you're saying the right thing. That's the value of GigFaster. That's what I'm trying to tell you about. That's what GigFaster does for you. It does all that automatically. I know how it works, and it's worked for me, and I got tired of trying to keep track and keeping my own calendar of when to follow up with somebody, blah, blah, blah. It took forever. GigFaster does that without even thinking, so all I have to do is pitch to a venue, and then I can wait, because it's going to do it automatically for me. So that's what you have to do. That's the formula. That's the strategy that we use, and it works. Now, send these emails out. Your final email should really be within about 30 days. If you follow up, do all these follow-ups like you're supposed to, it's going to be probably within a month. And if you're not hearing anything, then that's fine. Don't push it, because then it gets really annoying for the venue. If oh my gosh, this person's still trying, it's like spam, and you'll never get through that venue again. But, and this is what I had to do too, a few months goes by, follow up again, start it again. I would start a whole new email chain. And at that point, even though they might not know you or have never had that conversation with you, you're going to kind of seem familiar to them. Wait, who is this? So you can restart that. And it took me 2 years to finally book a club I wanted to book for my band. And it was a no-brainer for them to book me, but it just took 2 years. And every time I played that place, it was completely packed. And it's just, that's just life. That's just the way it is. You have to be patient. You have to contact a lot of clubs, and you can't give up. Hey, thanks for watching, and thanks for listening on the podcast. I'm Craig from GigFaster, and that's how GigFaster can help you automatically. I mean, it's not, you have to use this strategy if you want to book gigs. And I mean, again, this is a strategy that has worked for me a lot, and not just for booking gigs, but for getting pretty much anything I want. And that's what's built into GigFaster. Everybody, I've heard a couple people actually say, wait, this is what you're doing? I can do this myself. And I'm like, you can do it yourself. But I'm telling you, how valuable is your time? You're going to spend hours and hours and hours finding contact information, because I have all that, and we update it every day. Every day we're updating the contact information. So it's not, if an email bounces, we're on it. There's no, we don't wait around for that. And everything, we have the proper email sequences in place in contacting the clubs when they want to be contacted. So that makes it easier for them, for the venues, and for you. You pitch to one club, and then you can move on knowing that you did what you needed to do. Now, does everybody get a gig from every venue? Obviously not. I mean, I told you it took me 2 years to get, this was actually in my hometown venue. It took me 2 years. So, you got to be patient, and you have to, the more venues, and as you spread your reach in your area, like you don't confine it to just a little area, you start spreading your out a little bit geographically, you're gonna have more opportunities. So I'm Craig from GigFaster. Thanks for listening. Be sure to check gigfaster.com out, and I will catch you next time.